listening to the NintendoFuse Podcast. Today is June 16th, 2015, and this is episode number 117. It's our Nintendo E3 2015 special. E3 is here, lots of announcements, lots of stuff to discuss, and we are here to talk about it with you all. And here to discuss it with me is Steve.
Hey guys, it's been a long day, and I'm not even in LA with everybody else like doing E3. I'm tired. I don't know about you.
That is true. That is true. We also have Greg here with us.
Hey guys, I also agree it's been a long day. I've been working outside before E3 and then like right after Nintendo's main show.
Yeah. And Barry.
Hey guys, hope you guys are enjoying E3.
All right, so we are here to discuss the latest and greatest from Nintendo from E3, and the cool thing about this podcast as well is we like to make it interactive. You know, we're here to discuss E3, but we want to know what you guys think too, and you can do that while you watch us or listen to us live. And the full details on how to do that are on NintendoFuse.com. If you go there, it'll give you the details on how to join us. You can either join the chat room, which shout out to Mike, a fellow NintendoFuse staff member, as well as Kyle in the chat. And you can also call in via TalkShoe and voice your opinions live on the podcast as well. So we want to know what you guys think about E3 because I'm sure lots of people have many things to say. So first things first, I'm going to ask two questions of everybody here. So the first, I'll tell you both questions first. So the first question is going to be one word to sum up the Nintendo overall E3, like everything that Nintendo had at E3 so far, and then one word to describe the digital event specifically. So what's one word that you would use to describe overall E3, Steve, from Nintendo?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for this.
I wanted to get your like reaction, like your, you know.
I can think of a phrase, but I'm trying to think of one word.
I go with the phrase. Go with the phrase.
I'm going to hyphenate all these words to make it one word. I'll say experience. Experience for my one word, because I think there's a lot of things that we saw, but like a lot of times with Nintendo's announcements, you need to actually experience them. You can't just see them to like be really odd. You need to experience it. And so I think that's in general, that's a good word for me.
Okay. And what about the digital event specifically? Is it same or do you have a different reaction? Transition. All right. Well, there you go.
They used it a lot. It just comes to my mind right away. I think there's a lot of things transitioning with their games, but I think it seems like Nintendo themselves are really in a transition time right now. So I'm going to steal it from them and say transition.
All right. There we go. Greg, what about you? Overall Nintendo at E3?
I think it's been terrific, actually. I would use that word. I like having a variety of days and a variety of like content that they've shown so far.
Okay. And the digital event specifically?
I would actually kind of say somewhat disappointing. I guess I was waiting for it to shoot higher, and then it was kind of weird with the puppets and everything. But I kind of like last year with the more claymation style. It seemed like a bit better, and it seemed like there was more humor built into it as well.
Right, right. Okay. Barry, what about you? Overall Nintendo E3?
Overall, I'd have to use the word exhilarating because it's almost been like a roller coaster, just like nonstop from Smash until Treehouse today. There's just been so much, so I'd say exhilarating.
Okay. And then the digital event?
For the digital event, I would use the word fun. Unlike Greg, I enjoyed the puppets, and the first thing I thought of when I first saw them is Nintendo's marching to the beat of their own drums. They're just out there having fun. Damn to everybody else, and that's the attitude I took the rest of the Direct. Was like, all right, they're going to have fun, I'm going to have fun. Screw everybody else.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I guess for me, the overall Nintendo E3, I would use the word interesting. Good, interesting, bad, interesting. I don't know, maybe a mix, but overall, it was interesting. Um, and then the digital event, I'm gonna have to copy Greg on that one and use that word disappointing for me for that digital event. But we'll get into all that a little bit later. Um, what about you guys? Anybody in the chat? Let me know what your words to describe Nintendo at E3 are, and we'll mention them on the podcast as well. So, what we're gonna do, by the way, with this podcast is we're gonna kind of start off briefly and talk about the Smash Brothers presentation, which happened on Sunday. Then get into the Nintendo World Championships, and then we'll talk about the digital events. So the Smash Brothers presentation happened, right? And lots of announcements. Most of it had already leaked, so we kind of knew what was coming. But hey, we actually got to see it now, obviously, Lucas has been released. Roy is back. He's out now. Ryu from Street Fighter, playable as well. Lots of Mii Fighter costumes, including from Splatoon. We got representation from Virtua Fighter and Tekken as well. Some like Mega Man costumes. There's a new Miiverse stage, which is free, but then downloadable content in the form of Dreamland from the N64 game. And they also announced returning stages eventually in the future, Hyrule Castle, and I forget the name of it, but one of the other Smash Brothers.
Peach's
64.
Castle.
Peach's Castle, okay. So that's returning eventually. Tournament mode's coming in August. They showed Amiibo on the way as well. Mii Fighter Amiibo are coming. They're going to make Amiibo of all the DLC characters eventually. Lots of different announcements kind of all put together in this little presentation there. So what did you guys think about all the announcements? Have you actually purchased the stuff? Have you played it? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was cool that there were still some surprises that weren't leaked ahead of time. That was great. That not everything was leaked, and we still heard a lot of cool things. I think the biggest surprise for me really were the Tekken and the Virtua Fighter Mii costumes. Like that just kind of seemed like, wow, they're really pulling a lot of third-party support in. So I was thinking, man, like who knows what they're going to do the rest of E3, and we'll talk about that soon. But that was kind of surprising to me that all these other the costumes were coming in that I wasn't expecting. I'm really excited for Hyrule Castle, as I know a lot of other people are. That's going to be really, really fun. I did download Lucas and Ryu already, and I do want to say, like, if you haven't done that yet, get ready for a stupid process of getting them, because it's just ridiculous. Like, it was through that process I was like, yes, Nintendo needs to really up their game and the whole like online market stuff, because this should be automatic. I should be able to, like, I like how I purchased the bundle, but that should have already like sent it to my account on my other system and downloaded it for me. Like having to go into my receipt on my 3DS, find the code, go into my Wii U and start up the eShop, go into, like, click the enter code thing, enter it all in, and then have it tell me, okay, I have to be okay with it updating, and oh, I haven't updated my Smash Brothers software yet, so it's going to download another thing, and then I have to go through 2 or 3 different screens of okaying it and all those other things, and then once I get done doing the Lucas one, I have to go back into the main screen on the eShop and do it all over again for my Ryu one. It was just like, this is dumb. It should have automatically downloaded. Like when I purchased both of them on my 3DS, it should have said, oh, he's got an account on Wii U. Let's go ahead and pre-download them for him. So as soon as he fires up Smash Brothers next time, it's already there waiting for him. That would have been fantastic. But beside the process, I think it's great to have both of them back. I haven't played with them yet because I've been so busy with E3 stuff. So I'm excited. I think it's really cool that Ryu's moveset from Smash Brothers, or from Street Fighter, has been brought in. That was really unexpected as well. We knew about the 2 different Final Smashes, but the moveset was not known as far as I know, and that was kind of a cool surprise, because I use Ryu a lot in Smash Brothers, or in not in Smash Brothers, in
Oh.
Street Fighter, and so I will be using him probably in Smash Brothers. But so that was cool to know you can actually use the the original moveset. I think he seemed pretty powerful. I think like Little Mac, he doesn't have much for recover, so that kind of balances him out a little bit. But he seems pretty powerful, and those combo attacks are going to be fun to pull off. So yeah, my thoughts.
Cool. What about you, Greg?
I guess this goes complete 180. The one character I got was just Roy, but I do have intentions to get Lucas and Ryu, but it just turned out that I was like, well, Roy was the one I wanted most because I love the Fire Emblem stuff. So, anyways, I did use him very, very briefly, maybe 1 or 2 matches total. It was pretty cool to see him in action, and I was doing pretty solid. I mean, he plays kind of similar to like Marth, as everyone always claims, so it was pretty cool to have another option available for that. Obviously, I had actually to update my 3DS and then update the Smash Brothers on there because I don't usually have my 3DS online at home because I use that Spill Past Me thing a lot more. So
That's
I had to
true.
like
I
connect.
forgot about updating my 3DS. I had to do that too.
But I had bought it on Wii U, so like, it updated the game first, and then it said like, oh, you can go to the shop, buy the characters, but then it was like getting the high traffic stuff. So then later in the day is when I actually was able to successfully go through and make the purchase on it. So yeah, everything needed to be updated. It wasn't a fun process, but on that Steve side, it was nice to get everything all pretty much all at once except for like the tournament mode. Pretty excited to see that coming back, and then it'll be cool. You can have online tourneys, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be quite as like the Mario Kart um, tournament rooms kind of thing. It sounds like it's going to be more like just the official tournament. So it doesn't seem like we'd be able to create like a NintendoFuse one and have our followers and listeners and everything like play against us. But at least that's what I got from it. But overall, it's pretty exciting. It was cool to see the coverage, and I only had to watch it a couple times because I was getting distracted throughout the day.
Right. Cool. And what about you, Barry?
Yeah, I had a similar experience with Steve. I got the bundle, and I had to update both my Wii U and then the 3DS, and then go through the receipt. And I agree. I wish it was just linked to your Nintendo Network ID. Oh, look, you bought the bundle. Next time you boot up the 3DS version, at least go to the shop and go click bundle, boom, download or something. Something a little more streamlined. But I did it. I wound up getting everything installed, and on both the 3DS and the Wii U, I played through Classic with all 3 characters. I played a couple matches on Ryu stage and Dreamland 64 and the Miiverse stage on both systems, Miiverse only on Wii U, and I really enjoyed it. I thought Ryu was way more in depth than I expected, and I really am having fun with him. Lucas, I'm not great with. I'm not great with Ness, so kind of goes hand in hand. And Roy, I'm so happy that he's back because I loved him in Melee, and I felt he didn't get any love since then, so I was just really happy to see him back. Messed around with the costumes a little bit. Isabel's freaking adorable with your little cone. But I thought about the Direct, and I was really upset that some of the stuff was leaked. Even though we had the sound files from ages ago of Ryu and Roy, so it was suspected, it was almost like this is almost so far out there, we must be reaching. We must have renamed it something. But then when the leaks happened, just like a day before, and from what I understand, people at Nintendo that did know, the higher-ups didn't know, and they didn't have the heart to tell them that this stuff had been leaked. And I just felt bad. Like, I felt bad for Sakurai. I remember what happened with Subspace Emissary, and that's why we didn't get a single-player mode. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, if these people leak this out and he finds out no more DLC characters, I'm gonna hunt these people down, Taken style, because this is ridiculous. Like we're getting good things here. Don't ruin it for the
I've
rest
had
of
interesting
us.
set of skills come from
Exactly.
Smash Brothers for many, many years.
Yeah, definitely.
I heard it was kind of similar to that, like the data mining thing. So it was like they had uploaded like all the Ryu and Lucas data up, like, and Roy uploaded to their servers. So it was like somebody like already had like access to the servers and was able to see bunch of those files or something.
They hacked the files that were up there. But, I mean, come on, people. Wait a day. A day! Let it happen, you know. Be surprised. So, like, when that Ryu trailer came at the end with, you know, Super Street Fighter 2, Ryu, like, opening, like, I understood what they were going for. I loved it, but I would have loved it 150 billion times more had that leak not happened. I would have been like, holy shit, that thing was real. Like, where the hell am I dreaming? But now it's like, yep, I knew this was coming.
Yeah, I shared those same thoughts. It's like the best parts were already basically the release parts. I mean, obviously it was nice to have like Dreamland. That's one of my favorite stages, but having that stage versus like a brand new character like introduced is completely different things on the scale.
Yeah, it's just like going back to the 90s, walking into opening night of like The Sixth Sense and just shouting out, Bruce Willis is dead, and walking out. Like that's what you're doing. You're taking the, like, oh, like, no.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, like you said, I hope it doesn't affect things negatively going forward, because it seems like Sakurai is the type of guy that takes some of this stuff personally too. Good or bad, I mean, you know, he does it because he loves what he does, but then at the same time, you know, I hope this doesn't affect anything. So, like, you know, like you all, it was kind of annoying, the process of downloading the DLC, but I did get all of it. Played with it a little bit, at least the new characters and stages. I actually thought, Barry, that the Isabelle costume was kind of creepy, the way that it was designed. It was a little weird. It was like you're like cutting open Isabelle and like, you know, like it was a little freaky for me because it's an animal in a way. It was like, I don't know about
Think
that.
about this.
It was like you turned her into a bearskin rug and like. Just,
Yeah.
It was.
For me, went to your New Leaf Village, went into the mayor's office, killed her, skinned her, and now we're wearing her skin in combat.
No, not Isabelle. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose with all the dark, you know, Animal Crossing stuff with the evil villager and everything, it all kind of makes sense. You know, it all kind of comes together. But yeah, I mean, the new characters are fun. I don't know that any of them are going to be characters that I'll particularly use, you know, often, but they're all kind of neat in their own right. And I'm excited about the Smash Bros. 64 stages, though. Like Steve said as well, Hyrule Castle should be pretty fun. So I'm excited to see that one come back. And the Miiverse stage, I only played it in it like once or twice, but I love seeing like the posts from people on the stage. So I want to just go play that stage with a whole bunch of different characters and see what people have posted in Miiverse. And I didn't even realize it would, but it's kind of a nice feature. Like when you play on the Miiverse stage and you win, it asks you after the results screen if you want to post to Miiverse about that character. So right from the game, you can just go make a post. So that's actually pretty simple to do, pretty quick, which is nice. But yeah, so overall, some good DLC, and I'm excited about DLC in Smash Brothers because it's my favorite game.
Interesting though, it seems like they're not going to be adding many more stages, if any, to the game. Do you think that's a good move? Are there any more that you would like to see that they haven't added yet?
I guess one thing is I don't know that I believe that too, because looking at the DLC screen, there's like 3 stages and there's so much empty space, you know. But then again, you know, who knows? But I personally, the one stage that I want to see return is from Smash Bros. 64, and I'm blanking on the name, the Pokemon stage.
Saffron City.
Yeah, Saffron City. That was a lot of fun. So I want to see that one return, but.
See, what I think they should do, they should just get like some interns and just tell them, here's your job. Convert the remaining 5 and 64 stages to the Wii U, maybe one for the 3DS, and release a 64 pack. And then after that, have them do the remaining Melee stages and the Brawl and then the 3DS, and just have them work on it. And like, hey, look, you guys are tired of Smash Brothers. Guess what? How about all the Brawl stages that haven't been there are all now back? Boom, new stages, new play, because it's got to be cheap to just convert over, because the stages already exist. These aren't new stages, and it's money. Nintendo makes more money.
It's true. I think it's the music stuff. I wonder that they, because they want to do things so excellently, that they don't want to just like halfway, just like port over a stage. They want to actually like give us a really quality, with like 5 or 6 different options for music and everything. Which like really to me that's okay if they don't. Like if they just gave me the stage and just let me pick from the original music or anything else that's already in the game, that I'd be fine with that. But I think they probably think, oh, we have to provide 5 or 6 different versions of the exact same song and all this different stuff and from different stages, so that it really rounds out each stage, and that makes the process harder because they get a lot of times they're re-recording it with symphonies and all this other stuff. But if they are just porting over the stage, that'd be different.
You know what? You may have a point. However, if you look at the 4 new characters, and I'm assuming this is going to go with all DLC characters, they don't have custom movesets. They have one moveset. So they didn't go ahead and make each character with 12, different moves each. They just said, here's your basic move. That's what you're getting. So they could say, oh, look, another Zelda stage. Play from different Zelda music. Mario stage. There's other Mario music in the game. I mean, that's something they could easily do. And I'm kind of surprised because Ryu came with this stage. I'm really surprised Lucas did not come over with New Pork City because that stage is perfect for 8-player Smash. And that's where it'll live its glory.
Yeah, that's really weird that he was the only one that really came over with the stage. That was odd to me.
Yeah, I guess they probably did that just so that. I mean, I guess he would have been the only character that didn't have some sort of stage representation in some way, so I guess they had to put some sort of stage. But it would have been nice if the other characters also came with a stage too, I think. Definitely. But yeah.
I prefer the cheaper route for that. I kind of like that Roy was cheaper because he didn't have the stage with it.
Yeah.
It was $1 more for the stage.
They could give options too, and like offer it without the stage or with the stage separate, something like that too. But yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of content that was released though, and I'm assuming they've got to have more content coming too because the Smash Ballot is still going on, so they're gonna have more DLC coming up too still. So I'm excited to see what else comes next for sure. But that is the Smash Brothers presentation. I want to jump real quick to the chat, and I want to say when I was asking people what they thought about Nintendo at E3, Kyle says I got to go with Hassan. It was interesting, and then Mike says tame. So those are their thoughts on the conference. So yeah, so that was the Smash Brothers presentation, and then after that, a couple hours later in the day, they had the Nintendo World Championships, which, before the World Championships, there was a pre-show, and, they showed us Yoshi's Woolly World gameplay, which is really nice. And then, of course, all out of nowhere, they just announced and it's basically coming to Wii U Virtual Console. It's out now, Wii U Virtual Console, and it was never, that translation I don't think was ever officially released in the West. So now it finally is here, basically. So it's kind of a big deal in that regard. And yeah, I mean, what are you guys? Did you guys buy it? Are you going to buy it?
I did not. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I think once I get around and we find myself enough time, I do want to play through both of them because I've never played it through Earthbound before. I started it one time and just I think I played a couple hours and that was really about it. So it'd be great if if I get some time to actually play through all of them, and hopefully they do release the third one, so I can kind of complete the story there. But yeah, I haven't downloaded it. I might eventually, but I'm not going to jump on it right away.
Gotcha. What about you, Greg? Right. What about you, Barry?
I haven't picked it up yet. I'm still holding out, hoping for a digital or a physical release. Although I think I might have to purchase this just to say, look, there's interest. Now give me my collection. I think they're missing out. I think they're really missing out on easy money. But I guess this the sales of this might determine that or not.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting that they decided to do that, and I think a lot of people were speculating that that meant they were going to announce Mother 3 coming to the West. Didn't happen, but that doesn't mean it's not, in the plans, I guess. Maybe depending on how the sales of this one go as well. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of this, if anything. So that was announced at the pre-show, and then they went into the Nintendo World Championships. And if you have not watched the World Championships, I highly recommend to go watch it. Honestly, probably in its entirety. I mean, I thought personally it was a lot of fun to watch. It had its moments, things that might, could have been improved and stuff. But overall, I mean, I was thoroughly entertained. There was a lot of great stuff happening, especially when it got back down to like the final rounds with Super Mario Maker and everything. Oh my goodness, I was like loving it basically. So it was awesome. Did you guys watch the World Championships? Were you like as excited about it, or did you, what did you think about that?
I watched it afterward because I was just busy at that time. Knew I was going to be, and so actually, by the time I got home, it was like the last couple rounds of the finals. I don't know if we're going to spoil anything, so I'll just kind of ambiguously say that. It was the last couple rounds of the finals, so I knew who won it, but I went back and watched the entire thing just because I wanted to see it in its entirety. I think it was good. I think I would have liked to have seen something a little more, I don't know, exciting. I think it was exciting, but I think it was kind of low key. Like it was very similar to the Smash Brothers tournament actually that they had last year, and while it was okay, I kind of feel like I would have liked to have seen a little more polish, I guess, a little more professionalism. Because at times it was very professional and seemed great, and at other times you're just like, well, I guess this is the next game. You guys ready? Okay. So it seemed like, I don't know. I would have just liked a little more polish and a little more professionalism, I think. Maybe a little more pizzazz. I don't know. But I think part of that is because of what Barry had said during his our last podcast. He really got my hopes up for seeing something like that, and that's not what happened. So, way to go, Barry. Really, you just painted this amazing dream picture in my head, and they shattered it.
Well, I'll talk about it when it's my turn, but I was right. At least it did end with Mario. I did predict that.
That's true, I guess. I think the variety of games was interesting. I would have liked to have seen a little more variety, I think, because while a couple of them seeming like they were out of left field, most of them seemed somewhat predictable. And I think it would have been cool to kind of throw some really big curveballs at some of these guys and just like say, okay, how are you going to do with this game that everybody had forgotten about? And like, there's no way you would have practiced it because no one remembered it even existed or something. That would have been kind of cool to see something like that. But like at the same time, I mean, we only had just a few hours of technically only 7 games. They said it was 10, but I don't believe them. And I think like looking back at the 1990s, the original one, I was just kind of doing some research and stuff, and I loved the fact that there were, I think, 20 something. Maybe I may be wrong. I can't remember the exact number. There were a lot more regional tournaments for the 1990 competition than there were this time. 8 is just ridiculous. Like, and they handpicked some of them, and I know like they were good players. They're excellent. And they might have won anyhow, but it would have been kind of nice to have more regional competitions to get more people plugged in and just made it a bigger hyped event overall.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, I kind of share some of those thoughts. Overall, it was kind of cool that they brought it back and everything, but guess that was also along the lines of kind of wish there was more variety. We didn't.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty interesting to see that. What about you, Barry? What did you think about the Nintendo World Championship?
Before you talk, Barry, we probably need to let people know that are watching the live stream and then the video afterwards. Greg's call keeps dropping, like his hangout keeps dropping, so that's why if you end up not hearing him or seeing him for a while, that he keeps dropping. So we're not just sitting around like staring at each other on the screen. Like we're actually listening to Greg.
No, you shouldn't have.
But
You should have just left it that way. That would have been so entertaining. It would have been like, this is the greatest thing ever.
PSA from Steve to ruin the fun.
sorry. I just felt like what's going on?
I'm gonna have that one comment from the person like, guys, what are you doing? No.
Sorry, but
Yeah,
I'm
what
sorry.
did you think, Gary?
Yeah. Now that I was so rudely interrupted by Steve's PSA, I see him horse laughing over there, you bastard. I watched them. I enjoyed it. It was definitely entertaining. My 92-year-old grandmother even started watching a little bit, and she was entertained. So that was kind of cool. Honestly, obviously, my prediction from last podcast didn't come true. There was no Fred Savage. There was no people from the Wizard. There wasn't even a mention of the Wizard. And it didn't end with the unveil of a brand new Mario game or any new game for that matter. It did show off one new game, which was nice to see at least something, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I don't think it was what anybody was expecting. I was happy to see a variety in the franchises that were represented. Zelda had a representative. Metroid apparently had two that we now learned. Balloon Fight got a representation. Mario Party or Mario Kart. I was happy about that. Splatoon, I understood. It's their new game. They want to push it out to everybody, show it off right away. But what I really would have liked to see is I would have liked to see a Game Boy game like Tetris or Dr. Mario. I would have liked to see, a Game Boy Color game or Game Boy Advance, a DS. Hell, I would like to see them try to who can get the highest in Mario Clash and bring out Virtual Boys and watch them all go, what the heck is that? Like I've never played one of these in my life. Like I would have loved that, like a real Nintendo history thing, which they sort of did with, Zelda and Super Metroid and Balloon Fight. But then they had Mario Kart 8. Why Mario Kart 8? Because it's your newest one. But do one of the other ones. How about Mario Kart 7 or Double Dash? Double Dash would have been great. GameCube had no representation there.
Or Super Mario
Smash
Kart,
Brothers,
which is incredibly difficult. Or even the Super Circuit one, which I think is even more difficult.
Super Circuit's very difficult. That would have been a great GBA game. Like they could have done it with all these other games. But what's funny is if you think about the Wizard was nothing more than a 90-minute glorified commercial for Super Mario Bros. 3. And if you think about the Nintendo World Championship, it was really a 4-hour commercial for Super Mario Maker. So they kind of got that right.
Which is actually pretty representative of Nintendo's E3 presence. Is more like a 4-day big advertisement for Super Mario Maker.
That's true, but
Yeah.
that's not broadcast to everybody. This is, directly hammered in.
No, what I'm seeing is what they are broadcasting is really just a giant advertisement for Super Mario
Yeah,
Maker.
in between their
Everything's like 30th
segments.
anniversary Mario, like everything else, and it also.
So we just had a big
really
25th anniversary celebration. We don't need a big celebration every 5 years, Nintendo. We get it. It's Mario. We love Mario as much as you do, but we don't need all these anniversary celebrations, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that they are doing that. I just hope that we don't see another huge celebration again at 35th anniversary, and if they just kind of keep
31st.
repeating that. Yeah, right. We're over the 30 years now, guys. Let's celebrate.
You know what? Honestly, if they come out and say, guess what? It's the 35th anniversary of Mario. We've got Super Mario 64 2. We've got Super Mario RPG 2 developed by Square. We've got Galaxy 3 and Sunshine 2 all coming out the same year. I'll say, shut your trap. That's how I want to celebrate that anniversary. And I don't think people will complain too much.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. If that's how they want to celebrate, then hey, have whatever parties you want. I will be there celebrating. Definitely. The Nintendo World Championships was certainly interesting. Having more variety in some of the games I think would have been nice. But I think overall, I was happy with overall the choices they made this time. I hope that the World Championships is something they do continue every year, and so that then next year they can kind of change it up a bit if they've already done some of the stuff this time around. That sort of thing. But before I do, kind of
15 years before another one.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Hey, you know what?
I hope not.
I just thought of something. You know what would have been a great representative for the 64? Star Fox 64 multiplayer that they could have used to remind people about that right before something else was shown off.
Yeah.
Sure. I would have actually liked. Did you guys see the previous winner or winners? Like at all? Like they were supposed to be special guests.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah,
remember
they were in the
seeing
audience.
them or drawing attention to them.
They were there.
Did they draw attention to them? Because I didn't see them. I might have been looking away.
At the beginning, they said, hey, give it up to our guests of honors, the previous two, runner-up and the winner of the one in 1990. They stood up, waved. Yeah, I don't even think they stood up. I think they just waved, and that was it. Never brought up again.
So, yeah, I thought it would have been really cool to have them on stage and at least have them on stage. If nothing else, just really draw attention to them because they were the previous winners.
It would have been cool if the previous winner actually handed the trophy to the new winner, kind of like passing the torch kind of deal.
No, instead you get Kevin Pereira being really awkward about it, saying, I wish I had something to give you. Oh, right, you saw it leaked on the internet. We do have something. Cool. Yeah, here it is.
I was just happy to have a gig.
Yeah. It would have been nice for them to do more with those guys, I think, for sure. But I feel like I guess there was just so much stuff in there too that it was hard for them to really do much. I did want to say with the World Championships though, some of the stuff that happened, that I felt like was kind of unscripted, was some of the most entertaining stuff too. Like with Splatoon, there was that kid there with the commentary that he made. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid. There are moments when I was like, what is this kid saying? And then he blurted out that one line that was like, I got a true question for you all. Are you a kid or are you a squid? And I busted out laughing, and I was like, I love this kid. This was amazing.
Mini Wheat, wasn't it Mini Wheat?
Huh?
I thought his name wasn't it Mini Wheat?
Yeah, Mini Wheat. I guess he streams with his dad or something on online and stuff. But
Yeah,
that was
people were asking about
entertaining.
him like on Twitter and stuff. They're like, where's Mini Wheat? Like later on, like during the other presentations. Nothing against a kid because he's a kid, but he was really annoying to me. Like I shared with you guys, I was like, wow, I can't. I hope they don't keep him the entire time because he was getting really obnoxious to me. And so it's funny, like so many other people really liked him and really wanted him to stick around, where I was like, I can't wait till he gets on the stage. It was the same way today with like some of the Treehouse stuff. There's like certain people that I could they're fine. I could listen to them all day talking about games. And there's a couple from the Treehouse that are just like, shut up. Like, you're really obnoxious right now. And I'm sure other people are probably saying the same thing about me while they're listening to this podcast. So I know, to each his own. But yeah, it's funny to just like, I was so annoyed.
Shut up, Steve.
And so other people were like, really liking him. So it was kind of funny.
Right. Now, before we continue on, we do have a caller on the line, Dukecht. So let's get him on the line here. Hey, Dukecht, how are you?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. So, hello. It's DCT. This is my first time on the show. You guys are a really, really good show here. So, really interesting program. And honestly, the one thing I really liked about the whole Nintendo Championships, was probably one of the most entertaining things. World Championships, probably one of the most entertaining things I've seen in E3. Was on Sunday. I didn't know. Once you guys was on, I watched it. Funny enough, I was supposed to watch WWE's Money in the Bank, and I'm like, you know what? I switched it off because it was boring me, and I was like, screw it, let's watch this. And I was just really entertained by the World Championship because not only because of I like Money League, by the way. I like him, but also I love the Mario Maker stuff, which was just amazing. And I was like, and then the most funniest part was like over that door and saw those rows of Bowsers. I'm like,
oh man, those stages were so trollish of the Treehouse. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, the Tower of Bowser.
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to actually play the game because it looks so much fun. And I think I like the direction they went with, the surprises, trying to keep people on their toes. Look at the classic, look at the new. I would like to see Star Fox in there. That would be nice. But, just tipping the hand a little too much because, today they premiered Star Fox on Zero, which looks pretty cool. I liked it. I actually really like that because, because I'm now, but then again, I'm wondering a bit because it looks like it's going to be a bit, it looks like it's going to be a little bit hard to control. Like it's going to be, that's going to really seal the deal for me, how it controls.
Mm-hmm.
If the controls, if it's hard and frustrating, then I'll get how good it looks. If it looks great, I won't buy it. But if it is a little cool, because most of the Wii U games do have controls really good, I just have to wait. I'm not going to pre-order anything else, but,
Yeah, no, it looks like an interesting control scheme. So it'll definitely be interesting to see, how it does end up playing for sure.
And also, Xenoblade Chronicles X. That is it's coming out in December, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm already got all the stuff there. I already got Xenoblade Chronicles, which behind me. I still haven't done that game yet. 100, over 100 hours. I still haven't played it yet, but it's still probably one of my funnest games to ever play and everything else. So yeah, I can't wait to see. There's a lot of positive stuff there for the E3 and everything else. So I can't wait.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming. A lot of good stuff, definitely. Well, thank you for calling in, Duke CT. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, thanks for calling.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for calling in again, Duke CT. Always nice to hear from some other people. Yeah, definitely. We'll kind of talk a bit more about Xenoblade Chronicles X and Star Fox Zero as well. But Nintendo World Championships, overall, I think it was definitely entertaining, and I hope that we see, more events like that every year. I hope either they do this on an annual basis or similar things like that for sure. It'll definitely be a lot of fun to see more of that. So that is that with the Nintendo World Championships, and then today, of course, was the big digital event, right? So we had Sony and Microsoft's conference yesterday, all the other third-party conferences, and then all eyes on Nintendo today. And this is it, the digital event. So I am going to basically go in order of, I have the press release up, and I'm just going to kind of go in order of the press release, so it's not in order of what was announced in the digital event, basically. But to kind of kick things off, because this also kind of was the big finale of the Nintendo World Championships and kind of the big game of E3 from Nintendo, Super Mario Maker. So we saw some of those treehouse built levels for the game. They made some more announcements about how the game includes this little book with it's 100 pages of various illustrations, which is pretty interesting. There's also 2 special Mario amiibo figures, like old school 8-bit Marios, one classic style, one modern style. And those amiibo will give you a big mushroom power-up in the game. You can also use other amiibo in the game, for example, like Link, Kirby, Wii Fit Trainer, to have those characters appear in the game to play as well. So the game releases on September 11th, and yeah, so that's Super Mario Maker, which, by the way, they gave us, I guess, the official title now. Instead of Mario Maker, it's Super Mario Maker. Excuse me. Super Mario Maker went from, after E3, as much as Nintendo really blasted this in our faces, I got to give them props because they sold me on it completely after this E3. It was one of those things that I was like, you know what? Yeah, I might pick up and try out levels that people built. It'd be kind of fun I need this game now. I need to play around with this. I need to build my own stuff. I need to see what other people build. I am so excited for this now, especially after those treehouse levels. Oh my goodness. Those were just so entertaining. Oh man, what are you guys excited about Super Mario Maker now?
I am, and I think now that we've seen more of the game, what you can really do with it, and see how it's not just one left to right level and that's it that you can build. That you can surely build these entire worlds and just like. Especially how you can enter doors and go to different parts of different levels and link them all together. I think it's really cool, and I think that's it's going to be really exciting to play other people's levels. I'll dabble in trying to put a couple of my own together, but I'm really excited. The fact that in a way, kind of Barry, it's like this is like the new Mario game, because this could be Super Mario Brothers 4 or Super Mario World 3 or Mario, new Super Mario Brothers, whatever they are on now. But because it's really like every day you get home from work or school or whatever and you fire it up, you never know what you're going to find in terms of new levels that are put online, and I think that's really exciting. I think it's a game that hopefully will continue living on and on and on and on for years. And I think it's really exciting because I think I love the games like Little Big Planet, for instance, because there's so much talent between people that are really making some amazing levels and games within that world. And so I think Super Mario Maker is going to be very similar to that, and it's exciting too to dabble a little bit in level creation and kind of in a way kind of learn how to make a platform game. I think that's pretty exciting, and it was exciting to hear. Like the whole time I was thinking, I was like, I want to play those levels. I want to play those 4. I want to see how I can do compared to them. Sure, granted, I've seen them already, so I know what to expect. But I was like, maybe I can do better than that. And it was really exciting to hear today that they are going to go ahead and include those in the final game. That was a surprise, I think, for the Treehouse guys. That was a really cool moment for them when they announced that today. But yeah, it'd be cool to play those levels and see whatever else is creating as well.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know that they did announce that, so that's cool. I'm glad that they did, because those were pretty cool levels. By the way, one thing to note, if you guys are wondering where Greg is, he had to leave early. So, in case you're wondering what happened to him, he just had to leave early. So, what did you think, Barry, of Super Mario Maker?
Well, unlike most people, I was excited for it from the beginning. When I realized, hey, every day I could have 100 new Mario levels, and even if they were just plain simple levels, nothing that hasn't been done before, I would still be happy because I've always enjoyed Mario platformers, and I like the creation tools. And I figured, oh, you know what, just even more of the same. If that's like you had a slice of chocolate cake. Do you want another slice of chocolate cake? Well, if it's good, then yeah, I want more of the same. You don't need to doctor it up. It was good. But the fact that now they're throwing whipped cream and nuts and hot fudge and cherry on top, it's like, well, shit, of course I want another piece of chocolate cake. What the hell's wrong with you? Why are you even asking me? Throw it in my mouth. You know, it looks so incredible what they're doing with it. Just the craziness, that Bowser stack, the question mark block with a ring of ghosts, and then the next one with a ring of ghosts with wings on them. I mean, like, what? Whoa, what? Where is this coming from? Like at one point they had like the beetle hat, but they were Fire Mario and they were in Kabuki's shoe and they were in a clown car, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, that's awesome. Like, I need this game. I need this game now. I need this game yesterday. Like, I can't wait to play the hell out of this game. I don't know if I'll probably mess around. They showed one level today where you didn't have to do anything, and it was like, kind of like one of those machines where they just, like, the springs kept bouncing Mario and the whole level, and it was like this intricate process. I'm like, that's cool. If anything, I might try to do one of those, as crazy as I could do it, just for the sheer fun of it. But yeah, I can't wait to play it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I like those levels in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. A lot of people create their own levels in those, and you see a lot of automatic levels, and it's so cool to play through them. In quotes, because like you're not really doing anything, you're just kind of sitting there watching it. But it's so cool to see. You know, it's like a virtual dominoes.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg's machine, together. I think they're called. Yeah, that looks just so amazing. They showed one on the Treehouse Live, and it's like, yeah, I want this. I want this game now, like yesterday. Give it to me.
Yeah, oh man, I like you guys said, I'm excited to see what other people create, and I'm excited to like see if we can do something where we have people submit their stages to us at NintendoFuse, and then maybe we make like a video playing the stages or something like that, reacting to whatever crazy stages people build. I mean, there's so many possibilities. It would just be so much fun to do. Or we each challenge each other to our own like custom stages that we make. I just see so much potential to like the craziness that this would do. Oh man, it's gonna be amazing. The amiibo support was kind of a nice little thing to throw in. I didn't expect them to have that too.
Yeah.
It was kind of, especially like seeing like Wii Fit Trainer and like 8-bit style was kind of neat to see. So yeah, it's kind of a neat little touch there. And the 8-bit Mario amiibo look awesome. So of course I'll be getting both of those. Hopefully they're not like super rare, but
yeah, I kept wondering like as they were showing the transitions as they're talking from one game to the next, they kept using Super Mario Maker to do that. When they first showed him turning into Link, I was like, that's interesting. I was like, did they just show just a little clip of that or what? And then so eventually they did mention that was through amiibo support. But in the beginning, it was really interesting because like no one on Twitter was like talking about it at all. I was like, this seems something big. Why wouldn't people talk about it? Like that they just put it out there and no one mentioned it, and then I found out it's through amiibo, and that's kind of fun. Just it's another cool way to just use those. I think they're developing really cool ways to use amiibo, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, I saw that transition. I was thinking to myself, like when I saw that link, I was kind of like, what? Like, hold on, did I just see that? And then when I found that that's really in the game, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I have the amiibos. I want to totally. I hope Sonic. If Sonic is compatible, that would be like mind blowing.
That would be very interesting. Would he act like Mario, but just a different like skin for it, which would be just really odd to see, or would he actually go really fast? That makes me wonder.
They did say it was they're just skins, they're like costumes, but you would expect him to go really fast. I mean, yeah, some of them you're like, I don't really know how this is going to act, but yeah, it's cool just to like see the Wii Fit Trainer because you can do like poses and stuff. They have little attributes of of those other characters, but they say they're just costumes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so that is Super Mario Maker. So September 11th it comes out. I'm very excited. I think everybody after E3 is excited for this game. So Nintendo did a great job at, I guess, advertising it this time around for sure. Just demonstrating, the sheer amount of craziness you can put into the level design and everything makes it very, very interesting for sure. So just real quick, Mario related. If you go to letsupermario.com, you can upload little videos to kind of in honor of Super Mario's 30th anniversary. Any like ad revenue that's generated from these videos will go towards a donation Nintendo's making to Operation Smile. So it's a charity thing. So you can go check that out as well. letsupermario.com. But the next game I want to talk about is Yoshi's Woolly World. So this game comes out October 16th for Wii U, and we got to see a bit more gameplay footage of it as well. They showed us some of the co-op gameplay too, and a lot of gameplay of like with the curtains and how that interesting dynamic of the curtains kind of reveal different pieces of the stage to kind of step on and seem very interesting. It's one of those games I think that I was always kind of interested in just because of the art style. I thought it was great, and then of course the Yarn Yoshi amiibo are super adorable. So those were obviously something I was going to buy right away. But the game itself looks pretty fun too. I'm actually kind of excited to play the game, and I hope that I get the chance to really try some of the co-op too. But it looks fun. Are you guys interested in Yoshi's Woolly World?
I am. I thought it looked adorable the whole time. I think it's going to be fun to play, but I kind of wish they didn't spend as much time on it today. Just because I'm like, we know almost everything about this game already because it's been delayed and put back and all this other stuff, and we've seen so much from it already. So I've been like, I would have been okay with like a little section of trailer and saying, hey, it's coming out, here's the different Yoshi Yarn amiibos, and this is what they do, and boom, moved on. Kind of seemed like they spent too long talking about it, in my opinion, in their presentation. But the actual game, yeah, I'm just as excited as I have been. What they did didn't really change my opinion one way or the other. About the same.
Gotcha. What about you, Barry?
Yeah, I agree with Steve there. I mean, I like this game since it was Yarn Yoshi. I've been excited. Everything I've seen about it, I just absolutely love. I've always been a fan of the Yoshi platformers, so this is no exception. But I do think that we didn't need to go into as much this time. Like last year, where they had the two developers talking about the yarn and their inspiration, I thought that was great, and I thought that was really necessary. It was a nice story from the lady how she came up with the amiibos. I thought it was a time killer. We know so much about this. In fact, I think it's out in Europe now, or it comes out next week or something in Europe. We have to wait till September. Yeah, we have to wait till September, which really is just them delaying a game that's done towards the end of the year when it's a little busier, which sucks because we now miss out on playing the game we should be playing right now. But they should have just said Yarn Yoshi or Yoshi's Woolly World, October 16th, 2012 or 2012. Listen to me, 2015. Get ready for it. But yeah, I think they spent a little too much time on it. But it is a good game. At least it looks like it.
Yeah. It is interesting that there's such a big gap in release there. So that is kind of disappointing, I guess, to some extent, just because it would have been nice to play the game more close to the other countries as well. But that is Yoshi's Woolly World. Not much more to say about that, really. I mean, it's kind of, like everybody said, been talked about already. It's kind of old news at this point a little bit. But what's new news is Star Fox Zero. So we finally got, first glimpse of the full gameplay for it, the official name, I guess. And so this game is coming this holiday season. And the style of gameplay is you're piloting the R-Wing, but you see like a third-person view on the TV screen, but on the gamepad you actually see a first-person view, and you use the gyro controls to shoot enemies and things like that. Also, the R-Wing has a new walker transformation, which was kind of based off of Star Fox 2, which was never released, so they kind of brought that back for this game. There's a new gyro wing vehicle and the return of the Landmaster tank as well. Yeah, so finally we got to see Star Fox Zero. We all knew it was coming because they said it was coming this year, so we all knew to expect it at E3, but it was nice to finally see some gameplay for it. One of the things that I'm hearing is that the game apparently does not have online play, which is kind of disappointing because to me, having like the R-Wings, like a 4-player online, all-out battle would have been epic. That's kind of what I was picturing in my head as far as like where they would take this game. But it doesn't seem like they're going that direction. But it still looks pretty fun, and I'm excited to try it out and see the control scheme and kind of the first-person view on the gamepad, but then see the third-person view on the TV. So you're kind of having to look back and forth between the two, which seems interesting. Yeah, so it looks interesting to me. What do you think about Star Fox Zero, Steve?
I've voiced this many times on our podcast. I can't wait until the next Star Fox game. I'm really disappointed that there's no online multiplayer. If that is in fact true, and I'm pretty sure it is, I'm incredibly disappointed because it seems like that's I was kind of disappointed that they didn't add it into Star Fox 64 3D because it seemed like, wow, that's kind of unfortunate that they wouldn't add that in. But they're just remaking an old game. Okay, whatever. But this is a brand new game, and if they're not putting it in there, that seems really weird. And I really, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to do to the game. I hope that they balance it out the other way and put a really, really robust, long single-player campaign in there. Because if it's the same length as the 64 game, like it's going to be over in no time, and the other games weren't terribly long either, and so like I'm expecting a really robust single player campaign. If they're going to leave out all this online multiplayer, which could add a whole lot of replayability to it, because that's what happens with me with Star Fox games. While I love them, I usually only play through them like once or twice, and then they sit on the shelf. But if it had online multiplayer, I'd be like doing dogfights all the time. I'd be sitting I would sit Smash Brothers, Mario Kart to the side, probably even Splatoon, and just like play Star Fox like all the time if that was the case. But it's unfortunate that they probably did leave that out. I hope that they have local multiplayer, but I don't know with this control scheme. I'm like, maybe they're thinking, well, we only have one gamepad, so we can't have local multiplayer either, which is really unfortunate if they leave both of them out.
Yeah, I totally agree. What do you think, Barry?
I actually hadn't heard anything about this no online multiplayer, and if this turns out to be true, I'm with you. I'm very disappointed in that. Does it have local at least? At the very least, please tell me.
I haven't heard anything about.
They haven't really said anything.
Local, which probably means we're saying they haven't really confirmed either way, but if they haven't said anything, it probably, because they specifically said no online multiplayer, so I'm thinking that because they haven't said anything about local, probably there isn't.
Well, if it doesn't have any type of multiplayer, I think that's the largest missed opportunity they could have had, period. Since it was bad enough they butchered battle mode in Mario Kart 8, but Star Fox 64, my memories of that game are both single and multiplayer, but that whole summer, my friends and I were just playing Star Fox 64 multiplayer. We were dogfighting, we had the Landmasters, we were running around with bazookas on our shoulders, and we just had a blast. And when this game was announced, that was my first thought. Oh, I can't wait to relive those days, Now, and especially now, because all my friends are all over the country, all with their own lives, and it's like, hey, let's have another summer of '98, like let's go have some fun, and God, if that doesn't come true, Nintendo. But in terms of how it looks fantastic. It looks absolutely fantastic. I really was impressed seeing them go from space to the planet. I thought that was kind of cool, even though No Man's Sky has already done that and shown that off. I thought it was cool that Nintendo did incorporate that. The fact that it's Zero makes me think it's a prequel, which means it takes place all before Star Fox or Star Fox 64, whichever you want to call canon. Which means no Crystal, which means none of those other characters, with the exception of maybe Bill and Kat will come back, because they've seemed to have forgotten about them ever since Star Fox 64. They might have been in Command, but I forget. But like, they're like, oh yeah, Bill from the Academy, it's so good to see you, even though you've never been mentioned before, and I'll never see you again. So I hope they come back. I hope there's at least some story there. I love the Walker. I'm glad they referenced Star Fox 2. I was hoping that maybe they would say, oh yeah, and to get you ready for it, this summer Star Fox 2 is going to the eShop or something. Let that game finally get released. But I saw a lot of people disappointed with it. And I was like, how are you disappointed? Because it looks like Star Fox 64 HD with new stuff. I mean, that's what we want in Star Fox. In fact, they went the opposite of that with Adventures, and they went the opposite of that with Assault, and then they did the opposite of that with Command, and people bitched about that. So they went back to the drawing board and went back to what people loved, and now they're bitching because it's too close to what they love. So, I don't know. You can never please people. But personally, I'm loving it. I'm going to pick it up on launch day. I'm going to play the hell out of it. Multiplayer be damned, but I'm still going to enjoy the single player, or do my best to try.
Yeah, I mean, I also, something I didn't mention was the look. I think it's awesome. I think they really chose a really cool graphic style for the game, and it's cool to see. Like, they really did draw in those puppet kind of style, like, of the original artwork, and they kind of made that real. Now that we can have that kind of artwork in games, they kind of went back to that, and it was really cool to see them do that. Even but that and the lighting effects and all that cool stuff. It's a really, really, really pretty game.
I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited to see more about the game and see what else is in store for this hopefully robust single-player campaign, and if there is any local multiplayer or anything, for sure. So we'll have to wait and see for more details on that. But I did want to next talk about two third-party titles. So one of them, Just Dance 2006, October 20th, coming to Wii and Wii U. Somehow there's still a game coming to Wii, which is interesting. And you can use a free Just Dance controller app on your smartphone, which is compatible with it. That's all I wanted to say about that game. So the other one, though, which is quite interesting, another third-party game, Skylanders Superchargers. So that's the latest Skylanders installment, right? And they have like these new vehicles now that are used in the game. But there's now going to be exclusive Donkey Kong and Bowser characters. So there's the turbocharged Donkey Kong and the Hammer Slam Bowser characters, and they can also work as amiibo. So there's like a little, if you twist the base, on one hand it's a Skylander, twist it, it's an amiibo. It's like magic. It just goes back and forth. You just twist it like that, and it goes back and forth between the two. Very interesting concept, for sure. So the game comes out September 20th. The one thing I do want to note, the news that kind of came out later on, is I believe these are going to be exclusive to the game bundles for Wii U and Wii and DS, or 3DS, I guess. So for Wii U, one of them, like, let's just say, for example, the Bowser one is exclusive to the bundle with the Wii U game, and then the other one is exclusive to the bundle with like the 3DS game. So if you want to get those figures, you have to buy the Wii U and 3DS game. You can't just buy the figures. It's only in those bundles there, which went from me personally going, oh, these are kind of cool. Even if I don't have Skylanders, I might get these figures because they're kind of neat collectibles. To now saying, well, maybe not, because I have to buy this whole Skylanders game now just for these things.
Activision's pretty smart. They want you to buy the whole thing. They don't want you to just buy just the figure.
Yeah, and see, you're
roped in and say, you know what?
Exactly.
Disney Infinity and Amiibo is not enough for you, Hassan. You also need to start collecting every Skylander as well.
See, I gave up on Disney Infinity. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to stop. And now they're going to suck me in with Skylanders. That's what's going to happen. That's going to take over. So, Oh man. So we'll see about
See,
that. But
see, I'm okay with that because I play the Skylander games anyway, and I have all the figures for the first three and most of them for the fourth. So for me, that's fine. Uh, in fact, I think it's a smart move besides making you purchase the game, because if they just put them on the shelf and sold them separately, you know there will be kids who will say, "Ooh, Donkey Kong, ooh, Bowser, mommy, buy this for me." They'll take it home and try to play it on the Xbox One or the PS4 or the PS3 or the 360 and go, "Why isn't this working?" And then Toys R Us will be fielding calls from parents, "This isn't working," and Activision will be fielding calls. So it's just simpler to put it in the bundle, erase all those headaches because you know they would be there. My only problem is that both starter editions come with Stealth Elf. Why couldn't they give us another character in addition to Donkey Kong and Bowser? Why two Stealth Elves? If you're going to make us buy both copies, every other version of Skylanders, the 3DS and the home console version, have had different pack-in ones, with the exception I think Giants had the same one in both. But why Stealth Elf? Give us another one, damn it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. I'm thinking that like two things coming out of this for me. Like one thing, I think it's like, well, it was one of my predictions for E3 that they would make some sort of third party thing. I didn't expect this at all, but I think it's kind of smart because there's a lot of Skylanders fans out there. And that's gonna, if they've been buying it for PlayStation or buying it for Xbox, now they're gonna be like, oh wow, I need to get a Wii U or I need to get a 3DS so I can play this, a new 3DS so I can play this on with Bowser and DK too, especially for those collectors. And so this could be, a small system seller for Nintendo. So I think it's a smart decision. Secondly, I hope that Activision shows Nintendo how to produce these things. And they're like, oh, that's how you mass produce all these Skylanders. We need to get hooked up with your company and start doing that with our amiibo instead.
Well, see, actually, Steve, one thing I do have to say is Skylanders works on the regular 3DS. It comes with a little infrared portal that works with the infrared port. So even if you don't have a new 3DS, you would be able to use it as a Skylander because it will come with a portal. So you don't need a new 3DS.
I use the amiibo functionality, I guess. Although I'm expecting to get one of those
the portal
things by summer sometime anyhow, which they didn't really.
Fall.
Probably by the time that releases, it'll be there too.
I think
the latest. Yeah, you're right. I think it is. The latest Smash Bros. Update, though, I think included the functionality to work with it. So the game's already ready to go to work with the adapter. They just have to release it. But that is a good point, though, Barry, about how if it was sold separately, other people on other consoles wouldn't be able to use it. I didn't even think about that. So I suppose it makes sense, Nintendo, for once, I guess. But I
should play the games, though. Games are really fun. You would like them.
I bet they are. I'm kind of hoping that I don't like them for my wallet's sake. And honestly, my whole Disney Infinity thing, the reason why I had to stop buying it, I actually like collecting the figures. They're great. I ran out of room. I had they had these storage cases for the thing. I bought 5 of them and stacked them on top of each other, so I had this giant tower. And it filled up with Disney Infinity figures, and I literally had no more space for them. And the Disney Infinity 3.0 was announced, and I was like, I can't do this. I'd have no space for all these figures anymore in my room. And I didn't want to just put them away in boxes, because then I couldn't use the characters. I was like, I don't know. So that's my biggest thing, I guess. I was like, I'm just going to focus on Amiibo, but, we'll see how that goes, I guess. But yeah, definitely a pretty interesting announcement for sure. It makes me wonder if there is going to be something with Disney Infinity in the future, which would be kind of cool if there was something like that too. But
Disney did say they wanted Mario to meet Mickey, or Mickey to meet Mario.
Yeah, I saw that. So that would be interesting.
Really, really interesting, especially after they just made this deal with Universal Studios.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true. So that's those third-party games. I don't know that there's much that anybody wants to say about Just Dance. Anyone? No.
Yeah.
It's my most anticipated game.
Some sort of streaming thing. That's about all.
Yeah, it's Just Dance. Everybody knows what it is. Pretty simple there. Xenoblade Chronicles X. We have a release date, December 4th. It is happening. More gameplay footage was shown. The game, just visually looks great. December 4th. It is happening. There we go. I'm sure, Barry, you probably already have it pre-ordered somehow, right?
I had it pre-ordered since it announced. However,
Oh yeah, well that's right. Pre-order's probably open a while ago.
yeah, I pre-order all that stuff from Amazon already. They don't charge you until it comes out, so there's no harm in pre-ordering it. But I'm kind of upset about the date. Not that it's a bad date. It's a fine date. It's just that's right after the week of Thanksgiving, which means if my family is well enough, my wife will be dragging me down to Tennessee to see her family that week, so I will not be able to play it, and I'll be very disappointed the entire trip. But that's why I'm upset about that date. A little bit early.
Get up in the car, and you say, you get a drive. I'll be over here. You need me.
I wish. Doesn't work that way. And her parents only have one TV. So it's like, I can't even bring the Wii U down. Like, no.
Is there off
Can
TV
you play
play?
it off screen? Off TV?
I don't know. I think you still need a TV to hook it up to begin with, don't you?
Nope.
Yeah, but well.
No. There's a lot of
No,
games
actually,
that
that's true.
if there's a lot of games that I've played, like when I go to my wife's family for Christmas, they don't have a new TV, and so if it looks better on the gamepad than it does sometimes playing on the TV, and so I'll just have it hooked up in the other room and just totally just playing on the gamepad for those games that you can do that with.
We joked about buying them a TV, but that they can't use it until after we leave.
Well, maybe now is an excuse for them to use it while you're there. Well, you should test it out, right? Full HD glory and everything. Just like test out the how the TV looks.
Let me show you what you've been missing.
No. They have an HD TV, but they just have one.
Well,
So you're still showing
never
what they're
hurts to
missing.
test out another one. And this one has Xenoblade Chronicles X playing on it, so it just doesn't compare.
Hell yeah.
Buy him a Wii U as well. You just like do the whole thing. You just and that way
There
you
you
have
go.
both and just bring the game along with you.
I already got them a Wii and they never played it, so tried that, failed.
But yeah, so that's that. Anything else to add about Xenoblade Chronicles X?
It's awful. Don't buy it.
It's excellent video game.
Bad. Totally a lie.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like Yoshi. I think although I liked how they didn't spend a ton of time on this one. Like they just kind of put the trailer, set the date, and moved on. Because I think that's all it really needs, especially since it's already out in Japan.
Exactly.
Right.
But this one you have to play, Steve. If you do not play this one, man, your Nintendo cred goes down big time.
What do I do first? Do I play Earthbound or do I go to Xenoblade?
I think you should do Xenoblade Chronicles first. That's already out. Then you have to do Bravely Default. I'm not forgetting about this.
So by this time next year, I might be finishing.
Might be.
By the time the next Xenoblade game is announced, you'll be playing Xenoblade Chronicles X. Yeah, so we know the game looks great. So Xenoblade Chronicles X, December 4th, it comes out. So we finally have a release date. We can finally start the countdowns. So there we have that. So the next game I'm going to talk about, I'll actually kind of group two games together.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
They're both from the same series. I'm about to punch somebody in the face about this, but it's not a Punch-Out game. It's not a Punch-Out game, but so
It'd be
first of
better if it
all,
was.
yeah, that's true. That's true. First of all, Animal Crossing Happy
Animal
Home
Crossing
Designer for
Punch-Out.
3DS. That would be interesting. So Happy Home Designer, we already kind of
taking care of. That's how Isabella got to how she is, and
there's the backstory right there of the DLC for Isabel.
Shut up, Steve.
That would be interesting. But Happy Home Designer, so we know what it is. You get the cards. You got to design a house. Animal Crossing villagers come look at your house, stuff like that. So that comes out September 25th, and there's a bundle that will launch the same day, include the game, an amiibo card, as well as the NFC reader writer accessory for the regular 3DS. But we did get an Animal Crossing Wii U announcement, but it's not the Animal Crossing Wii U that anybody was expecting. It's Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Kill me now with that name right there. So it's basically what it looks like is like kind of a Mario Party board game style thing, except you have to use Amiibo in the game. It's obviously Animal Crossing styled. It doesn't look like there's any specific mini games either. I don't even know what this game is all about. It comes out this holiday season. There will be a bundle that includes the game, 2 Amiibo figures, and 3 Amiibo cards, which, by the way, they announced a line of Animal Crossing Amiibo to go alongside it. KK Slider, Tom Nook, Isabelle, they kind of, whole range of different Amiibo. Coming from somebody that's a huge Animal Crossing fan, it's one of those things that I will probably get to see what it's like and use the Amiibo, and I'm going to collect the Amiibo anyways. I'll probably get it to see what it's all about. But I am so very disappointed in this. I mean, Animal Crossing Wii U is like, what I was so excited about, and now it makes me wonder if we're ever even going to get one, or if they're just going to have this game instead, or I don't know. I don't know what Nintendo was thinking. Who was asking for this? Nobody. I don't know. Asking for it, Barry?
You asked for a lot of things. Why did they?
It's your fault. Hunt them down.
No, I wasn't asking for this, but you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because someone needs to. And when I first saw this, I thought, like, oh, cool, it's Animal Crossing Mario Party, and I have no problem with that. I like the use of the Amiibos. People were asking for a game that uses Amiibos, like actually uses Amiibos. Well, here's one. So there you got your game you asked for. But 2, when Mario Party came out for the N64, nobody was like, oh my God, how dare you release a new? Why isn't it Super Mario 64 too? We were like, cool. And not only did we get Mario Party, but we got 2 more on the same system, and we never got Super Mario 64 2. People weren't bitching and whining and moaning and crying and all that stuff. We got Super Mario 64 at the launch of that system, and we never got another Mario core game for the remainder of its life cycle. So, this is just an off-branch. It's a side story. And you know what? I welcome it. If it's something they can put together and is fun and is quick while they use these assets to make a real full-fledged Animal Crossing, I say go for it. Because if it's an extra game, $40, then you know what? It's an extra game to play. It's an extra game to fill that calendar year. And right now, that's what Nintendo needs because Nintendo doesn't have third-party support like they should. Is it the game everybody wanted? No. But you know what? Neither was Mario Party. Hell, when Super Mario Kart came out, no one knew we wanted it. And now look at what it's done. So who knows? This could be the greatest thing since sliced bread. We've seen 1 trailer. That's not enough to garner our pitchforks and go, you Nintendo. Let's wait and see what the game is like first. If it sucks, then we pull out the pitchforks. Because this could be amazing.
People did want Mario 64 2 or Mario 128. They were pretty upset that it hasn't come, and still are pretty upset that it hasn't come. However, I understand you're trying to play devil's advocate, but so from the other side of things, I would have rather them put all that effort into Mario 10 and made it better because that game was awful, and I want my $60 back. And I would have rather them make that a better game than try to potentially halfway do another Mario Party game with this Animal Crossing instead of Mario characters. Like, I would have liked, I don't mind this game. I really don't. Like, if it was a downloadable game. If it's not a fully fledged, retail game, then okay. But it seems like it's another way to sell more Amiibo. and like Mario's or like Nintendo's definitely flip-flopping back over to being the toy company because they know they can sell a ton of these amiibo, and they're like, hey, there's another way to sell more amiibo. Let's make Animal Crossing ones and put a game with it, and that's their method, and that's why they're gonna sell it in retail because they can sell more amiibo. But I would have liked I don't mind it by itself, but it would have been nice if it was like part of a fully fledged, real Animal Crossing game. And I really wish that Mario Party 10 was better.
So now this hatred you're harboring towards this Animal Crossing game seems to stem from your hatred for Mario Party 10. So now you're unjustifiably bashing this game before any remote outside of a trailer has come out because of this. You're that's like being mad at one child because the other child got an F. Like, your brother failed and you got an A. Well, screw you. You should have been helping him study. What the hell's wrong with you? No.
Not just that one child, but he's been progressively getting worse and worse and worse as it goes on. And I know that if that parent doesn't change things, then that second kid is also going to go down that same track.
You don't know that. This could be this kid has different parents. This kid has different parents who has different genes. So you don't necessarily know that. You might be the father of the first kid, but you don't know who the father of the second kid is. So they may not turn out like you.
Well, I will say the whole thing too with the whole Super Mario 64 2 thing, whatever. The thing is, we did get at least one 3D Mario game per console. We have not gotten a full-fledged Animal Crossing for Wii U yet. If we do happen to get an Animal Crossing for Wii U, then that will be great. My only concern is now I'm worried that with Nintendo NX, being announced next year and stuff, we have 2 Animal Crossing games that are coming out now, Happy Home Designer, this Amiibo Festival. With all this Animal Crossing focus, how much more Animal Crossing are they really going to give us? I mean, I'm worried that they might not give us a full-fledged Wii U and they might focus Animal Crossing only on handhelds. Which, I mean, I love Animal Crossing on handhelds, but, that's kind of where my worry is now with this. This game is not something that I was asking for, but I'll still get it, and maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll enjoy it, but it's, I'm worried about Animal Crossing Wii U,
Here, yeah. And Hassan, you and I both predicted in our last podcast that we would get Animal Crossing Wii U. So you know that I want it as much as you do. Because I said my prediction first, and you yelled at me for stealing yours. I want it, and I do. I do want a full-fledged Animal Crossing Wii U. If it's in development and it gets pushed to the NX and it comes out as an NX launch title, I'll be fine with that. If we wind up getting it and it's ported to the NX as well, so it's kind of like the Twilight Princess, I'll be fine with that. I know there's one in the works. There's got to be one in the works, and if there's not one in the works, there will be one in the works soon. So I take comfort in knowing that as a franchise, Animal Crossing is not dead. That Animal Crossing, in all its glory, will come back again. And knowing that, I can be patient to wait for it and enjoy this in the meantime, especially with so many other great games. When are you going to play Animal Crossing with Xenoblade Chronicles and Yoshi and Star Fox? So quit your bitching, play your damn Animal Crossing Mario Party, and sit patiently because it's going to come out eventually.
Well, I don't know if I'll even be able to play the game because you need Amiibo, and you can never find the Amiibo anywhere, too. So, come on, Nintendo.
You have plenty of Amiibo, let me tell you that. You have plenty. It's funny that I'm making this big deal about this because honestly, I don't care about home console Animal Crossing because I've never owned one and probably never will. I've owned the DS one and the 3DS one, and I played them a lot. And I really like Animal Crossing on the go. So it really doesn't matter to me if we have a Wii U version of Animal Crossing at all. I just would have rather than put all this effort into making Mario Party 10 better.
So you're still harping on that.
All right, I think we got to move on. But regardless, I honestly though I am still curious about this Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. I do want to see what it's all about. Like, what is the gameplay? Because the trailer really just they didn't show what the gameplay truly is. It's kind of, I'm curious, and it looks like the amiibo cards will factor into the game too, not just the amiibo figures. Especially because if you look at the cards, they have little dice and stuff on them too. So it looks like there's a lot of amiibo tie-in to this whole thing. So I know I'm going to be collecting the amiibo cards. My wallet is going to hate me, but I am an Animal Crossing fan, so I suppose I have to collect it all. But so I'm curious to see how they kind of tie it all together. It'll be very interesting to see how all of that works.
I'm thinking about getting the cards too, but I want you to know, I don't know if you saw this or not because you were working today. At the Treehouse, they had Happy Home Designer, and they had some cards, and they were talking about it. And they stated specifically that the cards that they're talking about now is Series 1. So there will be at least a Series 2. So I want you to brace yourself for this. That's a lot of cards. We might be trading a lot.
Yep, yeah, I saw that. And there's like 100 cards in Series 1 too, and I think don't booster packs only have like 6, I think. So it's it's going to be a steep investment, but I guess my love for Animal Crossing is it's going to kill me. But
at least they'll probably be cheaper than $12.99, figure that you can't find that ends up being.
Yep, but according to the packs, like in Japan, it's like $3 a pack for 3 cards. So it's $1 a card. So it's like $100 for the whole thing if you're lucky enough and get 0 duplicates, which that's not going to happen.
Never, right. So we'll see. But it just seems like Animal Crossing is a big focus for Amiibo in general. So it's pretty interesting that they're kind of taking that direction with it, and I'll be collecting the Amiibo, so we'll see how all that goes. I still need to complete all the current Amiibo. I still don't even have all those yet, so guess I should worry about those first. But all right, so moving on. I think we've said enough about Animal Crossing. The next piece, and I just closed the press release on my computer.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need that too.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce this this next game. Hold on, let me load it right back up. Is this next game? I briefly saw something. Is this Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem? Just a different name?
Apparently.
Okay. So the new name for this game, I don't know why they changed it, but it's Gene Ibun Roku #FE. That's what it looks like, I guess.
Call it Shin Megami
Tensei versus
final, Cross Fire Emblem,
which is good.
Yeah. I don't know what the name change is about, but that's what it is. The game comes out in 2016. They showed a new trailer and everything for it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it specifically. It was interesting, I guess. Does anybody know?
Let's just say it was weird. I didn't know what I was watching. Like I even tweeted. I was live tweeting for NintendoFuse. I was like, I don't even know what I just watched. Some sort of J-pop like RPG thing, and I'm assuming it's from Atlas. And then all I could read was Fee on the screen. And I was like, oh, maybe Fire Emblem? I don't know. So, and then people were telling me it was Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. I'm like, that's just weird. Both games are Japanese, but that's what all I'm getting out of that. So I was so confused.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that they used the Japanese trailer, and I think that's what hurt. Like, they didn't take the time to translate the trailer to English, and I think that would have been better. But, I recognize what it was originally, especially because it said Atlas, and it's the only game I know they're working together with Atlas on. But they did show, like, Chrom was there, and it specifically had his name, Chrom. So I was like, oh, yeah, it's definitely, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. And, I know some people are like, oh, yeah, like J-pop, it looked anime. I love anime. I'm a big fan of anime, so it could look anime all at once because I'll be buying the hell out of it anyway. So I'm excited about it. I expected 2016, and I know that it's not going to be a million seller, but it will have a niche following, and it will certainly sell because SMT has a huge following and Fire Emblem has a huge following. So I think even out of curiosity, people will give it a try. And you know what? If you look at the Wii U's library, outside of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is still not out in America, there's 0 JRPGs. Dragon Quest X is in Japan, but we have no RPGs here. So we need this. Like, we need that type of genre on the system. So I think I'm happy for it, at least.
Right. Yeah, definitely an interesting addition to Wii U. So it'll be interesting to kind of see more from that game, and to kind of, since it's similar, to tie in there. Fire Emblem Fates was announced for 3DS, or rather, we knew it was coming, but we got the official Western name for the game, Fire Emblem Fates. There will be two versions of the game, and this game they announced is coming in 2016 as well. So we got to see more of that. So who's excited about Fire Emblem Fates? It's like Barry's getting it.
I'm the JRPG fan here, so there's no question.
Greg,
You know.
I'll speak on behalf of Greg. I know Greg's excited about it as well. He'll be Barry and Greg will definitely be getting it, I'm sure. Yeah, I'll talk just briefly about it because I watched them play it on the Treehouse Live later, and it was cool. But it was interesting because they kept talking about the new features, and all the Treehouse people were like, yeah, it's kind of like the old Fire Emblem games. It's kind of like the old Fire Emblem games. They kept mentioning things like that, and I'm like, but I thought this was supposed to be a new direction for the Fire Emblem game. Like, why are you acting like this is how it's always been? I've not played all them, so I don't know. But it was interesting because they're promoting it kind of like this new thing. You're a character, you have to pick which direction you're going to go, and it all depends on that. But then they're saying, oh yeah, it's kind of like the old games. So I don't know if that's just them not stating that correctly, or if it's not as cool and new as it originally seemed like it was going to be.
Well, previous Fire Emblem games, except Awakening, you actually played as a character. You played as Marth. You played as Roy. Fire Emblem Awakening was the first one where you actually had a character avatar, which is Robin. Where you didn't you assisted the main character Chrom. You weren't Chrom. This is the same thing. You are a new created avatar, but the difference here is that the decision you make early on changes the entire game completely, and it's night and day almost. It's almost like the older Sonic games where you could pick light side or dark side and see from different point of views, or even like Hyrule Warriors more recently, where you could be Link starting off and then you play Ganondorf later on. But it's like that the whole game. So I don't know how they're going to do it here. I really hope it's not like you play, side A and then you have to re-buy side B, or if it lets you have two different save files so you can play them both. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I hope they do it where you can have one cartridge and don't have to buy it twice, because that would really suck.
No two versions like Pokemon does?
Yeah. Well, the difference is the two different versions of Pokemon are the same game, just with different Pokemon to catch. This or virtually Team Magma versus Team Aqua, whatever. But this is like completely different.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, well, I guess I'm curious to see kind of how they end up doing that with the game. So I'm sure with the game coming out next year, we'll hear more about it soon as well. So the last game for Wii U is Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. So I predicted that there would be a sports game coming, and so we got one, Mario Tennis for Wii U. It's coming this holiday season. And so there's the addition of jump shots to hit high balls overhead and giant mushrooms that, when picked up, make your characters even bigger, basically. So I don't know what to feel about this game specifically. I think Mario Tennis is interesting, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. But to me, when I think Mario sports games, I imagine all these power-ups and crazy things going on. This trailer, the only thing that it seemed to promote was just the characters that got bigger, and that's it. Like, it just seemed, other than that, kind of tame. So I don't know if they're just holding back and showing us all that stuff, or if this game doesn't have all those crazy power-ups and things. I don't know.
I don't know either, and I get, again, our predictions got me hyped for some sort of sports collection, and I was just like, oh, that'd be awesome. And like, really? Oh, we got a new Mario Tennis game? I feel like we just got a Mario Tennis game on 3DS. Like, why are we getting another one? I know it's fine. I hope it's not they're gonna probably do it as a full retail copy, and like that's just awful, because like if we have to pay any more than $20 for this game, and nowadays when you're used to paying $60 for like a really big game that has a lot of like Xenoblade Chronicles X, to like think that I would pay any more than like $10 for a game of tennis that I'm just gonna it's essentially the same thing over and over and over again, with just some power-ups. I don't know. I this would have been more like, I don't know, yet another one I think they spent way too much time talking about or even showing. Like, they didn't show hardly anything at all, and I think that was way too much. Like, they almost be like, hey, we got a new Mario Tennis game coming. It's $5 online. All right, let's move on.
Oh man, Steve, I could totally tell that you are not somebody who grew up with Mario Tennis, because Mario Tennis is amazing. You, you know,
I played
granted,
the 3DS game. That was fun, and I played them. But yeah, it's not really been like the thing. And we already have, like, we have other. I don't know. It's like, yeah. I was disappointed.
Yeah, outside of like tennis, like the NES Tennis, which was technically like the first Mario Tennis, which was good for its time. Yeah, Virtual Boy Mario Tennis was amazing. N64 Mario Tennis was beyond amazing. The GameCube one was so good they re-released it on the Wii. I love the 3DS one, Mario Tennis Open. Some people didn't like it, not enough features, whatever. I enjoyed it. If it's done by Camelot, they know how to make tennis, and they make it fun. And do I think there are other power-ups there? Yes, because that's what Mario Tennis has always been. With the exception of Virtual Boy, there was no actual power-ups there. But it didn't matter. It was still a great game of tennis. There's going to be more to it. They just showed off a brief little trailer for it. I know Mike, who is talking right now in the comments, absolutely wants it now. I'm with him. I feel him. I'm with him. I want it now too, because I have always loved the Mario Tennis games. Everyone has been a blast to play, and I will be the first one to tell you right now I'm going to play the hell out of that game, unless it comes out with Xenoblade, because then Xenoblade comes first. But then I'll play it right after I beat Xenoblade.
I think really the biggest thing is, for me, it comes back to actually your question at the very beginning, Hassan, is what they show off is not that exciting. And so, like, what I'm basing my thoughts on is what I saw during the digital event. And that's why I chose the game experience, because a lot of these games you're going to have to experience. I wasn't really that excited about the 3DS version of Mario Tennis either. It was like, oh, why are they doing this? But I played it a lot. I haven't went back to it since I got done reviewing it. I played, it probably like 15 hours or something like that, 15, 20 hours when I was reviewing it, and played, a lot of it on the go and enjoyed it. But I haven't went back to it. But beside the point, I think it's going to be similar with that game as well. Once I get my hands on it, once I see how fun, I can experience how fun it is, I might be a little more excited about it. But just seeing it on screen and seeing like just a couple power-ups, it was like, eh.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see more of the game, and because that's, I want to know more about what it is, what the gameplay's like, and then I can kind of, make my decision based on that. But, assuming that they do kind of add in all these other crazy power-ups, all that stuff, I mean, I might as well. I actually have not tried any of the Mario Tennis games, so now is as good as time as any to jump in and do it, So once we kind of get more details on that, yeah, sure, another fun game to try out for the holidays. So I'm definitely kind of curious to see more about the game for sure. So so that's it for Wii U. When it comes to 3DS, for Legend of Zelda, we had two games that they talked about. So there's Hyrule Warriors Legends, which is the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors with the addition of the Wind Waker characters. So this was now finally officially announced after being leaked out, and it comes out Q1 of 2016. We kind of already talked about this in the last podcast last week. But then we did get a new Zelda game for 3DS, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. So this is very similar to like a Four Swords Adventures kind of a thing, except this is 3 players, and you're kind of teaming up to clear the game. So the game comes out this fall, and there is local multiplayer, but there's also online multiplayer, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. So yeah, what do you guys think? Is this something that you guys are going to be getting?
Probably. A Link Between Worlds was fantastic. Such an amazing game, and just like that they're using that same graphical style and going further into that world. It seems like great. It'd be fantastic, and I think it's cool to do the co-op. I was surprised to see online multiplayer, especially after like all this other stuff that they've kind of written off online. It was interesting to see them, talk about how it's going to be online multiplayer. I think Barry was saying it, like it's going to be interesting because I doubt they're going to put online chat, like voice chat, in there, and it's going to be a really interesting game to play without voice chat. But I can't see them putting it in, even though it deserves to be there. But the game itself looks fantastic. It's kind of cool to see. Nintendo is really, I think, embracing how a lot of people have seen them for a long time as making these multiplayer game experiences. And it seems like they've been doing a lot more of that lately, really embracing that. And this is just them doing that once again, in a little bit different way in this co-op. But I think it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. When when they did the segue and they had Mario turn into Link, not only was I am I really seeing this because is this Link and Mario, but I was like, wait, what? We're actually getting something Zelda? And my first thought was, oh, here comes Hyrule Warriors. And then when it was a brand new logo, I was like, you have my interest. And I've actually been in hot debates with people on the internet all day about this game because there are so many people that are like, oh, this is the worst thing. Oh, my God, what a waste, disappointment. Oh, my God, Nintendo needs to die. You fail. You're going third party. And I'm like, and I started going off on people, I'm not going to lie. I really did because I'm like, you guys are just self-entitled little brats. That's what you are. You have to realize that the main Zelda team is hard at work at Zelda for the Wii U. They're pushing it. They just finished Majora's Mask 3D. That just came out in February. The fact that we're even getting not one but two Zelda games on the 3DS is amazing. I mean, this is a franchise where if you get one per year, not one handheld, one console per year, just one per year, you're lucky. Usually you get one every other year. So to get these extra games, it's a gift. It's really a gift. And some people are like, oh, but it sucks because it's got a main storyline. It's using The Legend of Zelda, which means it's going to be part of the timeline. And so is Four Swords. And so is Four Swords Adventures. And you know what? I love the hell out of both of those games. I had a great time in college playing Four Swords on the GBA. I played a hell of a lot of it on the GameCube and enjoyed it. And when the anniversary version of Four Swords came out on the 3DS, I got it for free. I played it with my friends. It was like reliving again. And you know what? Those are both great stories of Vadi, one of the most underrated Zelda villains. Yes, the story here seems kind of goofy. Yes, you could wear costumes and dress up as Zelda, but it's fun. It's a freaking video game. Why so serious? I'll play Joker for the time being. Just have fun. The fact that you could get together, play with friends, the totem mechanic seems really interesting. The costume mechanic does seem really interesting. And they're adding new elements to Zelda. And adding new elements to Zelda, I feel, is a good thing. If it's not the greatest story in the world but a fun game, who cares? It's a fun game. I love Zelda. Everyone who watches this or listens to this knows I love Zelda. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, I am going to champion for that game, and I'm going to champion for the developers most of all, because I feel that the fan base has been so hard on the developers and attacking them. Here these people have been working on this game for X amount of time, showing it off their love, their baby, and they're getting attacked for it. And I don't think it's warranted. You don't like the game, don't play it. I'll be playing it, and I'll be enjoying it for everybody else, because it looks amazing.
I didn't realize people were dissing it that much. Like, I actually, like, the whole time I was thinking, I was like, this is really cool. And I know people were kind of confused by like Four Swords when it first came out, but like now it's got a pretty big following and people really enjoy it. I think this would probably be similar, is my guess, because it kind of like you raise the eyebrow when you first see it, but then once you actually experience it, you start thinking, oh wow, this is really great. But this is one of those games that I thought as soon as I saw it, was like, that's gonna be fun because it's built on a fun engine. Excellent. I love. It competes. Between Worlds really does compete for best Zelda game in my opinion, and it's building on that, and I think it's great. I was really I still am really surprised to hear that you say that there are so many people that were dissing on it, because I don't see any reason for them to at all.
Well, see, I've been Zelda Informer did a poll to see, hey, what do you guys think? And these are just some of the comments. These are actual comments that people are writing in the Discuss forums on the chat. These are not my words. These are just some I'm reading. Oh, look, a mediocre spin-off game that nobody asked for. This seems to be Nintendo's theme this year. It triforced me right out of caring about E3. Uh, this one looks pretty interesting. A neat little gem to fill our time until Zelda U. At least it isn't getting as much hate as the Metroid announcement. Complete disappointment. They've had this much time to make a full-on handheld Zelda game on level or better than A Link Between Worlds. Instead, we get a Four Swords cross A Link Between Worlds game. I mean, it could just go on and on and on and on. It's just like so many people.
I don't know. It's just one of those things where I think there's some people that just won't be satisfied with anything, to be honest. I mean, I bet those are the same people that if we saw Zelda U, they'd be complaining about something related to that too. You know, I mean, just anything. You just always find things to complain about.
I agree, but like it's been so overwhelmingly negative, and on the Zelda group too. Like, you know, it's like, hey, we're supposed to be fans of the series, and you know, just enjoy it. It's something you don't have to play. You know, if this game didn't come out, you would be sitting and bitching and moaning that you wanted another Zelda game. You're getting one. Enjoy. You know, like I said, Majora's Mask just came out 3 freaking months ago. You should be lucky that we're getting this. I feel lucky. I feel that we're being blessed to not get 1 but 2 Zelda 3DS games, counting Hyrule Warriors, which again I wasn't expecting. And I think it's great. I think Nintendo is giving us extra games that honestly, their fan base, the people playing the game, don't deserve it right now based on their reaction. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, you know, hopefully we'll get some more details on the game soon, and once it does come out, you know, the game hopefully will do well, and people will get it, and we'll see how things go from there. But it's a new Zelda game, guys, for 3DS. What more can you ask for, you know? So Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. Yeah, well, you know, some people just I don't even know. You just can't satisfy some people, I guess. So Legend of Zelda, again, we have Hyrule Warriors Legends and then Triforce Heroes on 3DS. They didn't mention Zelda Wii U. They're working on it, but they'll show footage at a later time. They're not showing anything at E3 at this time. So, you know, that's fine. We have these games in the meantime. Take their time with Zelda Wii U, and then when it's ready, they can show it, and you know, we'll go from there. One of the other games, briefly, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon comes out holiday season this year. Don't think there's anything more we need to say about it because we kind of already discussed it on the podcast last time. Not really anything new since then. Yokai Watch, though, coming out this holiday season, so that's something that is now coming to the U.S. After being pretty popular in Japan. I don't really know much about this game. I've heard a lot about it, but don't really know too much about it. Is this something that's on either of your radars?
Personally, it wasn't. I know it was big in Japan, but then I was remembered that it was made by Level 5, and Level 5 has made some of my favorite games, Professor Layton, Fantasy Life. And then I was watching the Treehouse Live, and they did a segment on it. And I remember when Fantasy Life was first shown off last E3, and I was like, I don't care about it. Watched the Treehouse segment, loved it, wound up buying it and enjoying the hell out of it. And I think the same thing is happening here. Watch the Treehouse segment. It's kind of like Pokemon, where you get like 3 attacking at once, but they're on your watch, and you could rotate it in real time during the battle, and you could constantly swap out whichever ones you want to be attacking, and they're auto-attacking, and you can do little mini-games on the bottom screen to help them out or break them out of, like, imprisonment and stuff. And you're a kid, so everything's measured in cents, the currency or cents, because you're just a kid, and, you know, you find 10 cents, it's like, oh my god, you know, this is, like, great. You know, a quarter, holy shit, a quarter. You know, and like, you're finding these little, like, spirits, like the Yoki or spirits. They're Pokemon, but they're spirit Pokemon kind of, and you're finding them under vending machines and stuff like that, and you got to beat them to catch them. So think of it as Pokemon, where it's 3-on-3 battles, and you could rotate your Pokemon live all the time, and they just auto attack. But like, there's some weird things, like if you're walking, like games like Grand Theft Auto, for example. How many people have seen a red light and stopped at the red light? Like, no, we just keep going through. This game, apparently, if you jaywalk enough times and you don't follow the red light, like a Yoki or a Pokemon, if you will, attacks you for disobeying the traffic laws and kicks the crap out of you and yells at you. Like, it almost reminds me of like Mr. Resetti. Like, it was really interesting, and I love it.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. I'll have to kind of look more into it and see what it's all about. It's definitely been pretty popular in Japan, so it seems like now they're bringing that over to the U.S. So it'll be interesting to see how well it does here for sure. Is this something, Steve, that you were interested in, or?
Nope.
I saw you nodding though. You saw the same presentation I did.
What's that?
I said I saw you nodding when I was talking about the Yoki attacking you for jaywalking. So you must have seen the same presentation I did.
I did. Yeah, because I had pretty much had the entire Treehouse Live event on all day, and so just kind of watching, along, and so I was like halfway paying attention during that part because I wanted to like know a little more about what the game was about because I really have no clue, and so I was watching that, and I did see that, and it was funny, not enough to get me to buy a game, but it was humorous, but yeah, I'm definitely not uninterested. But I am like Hassan. I'm interested to see how it does in America. Because it really is huge in Japan. I mean, like they have McDonald's toys based on it in Japan. So I'm interested to see how it does in America.
There's also an anime, and I believe the anime is coming over here too.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. So I am kind of curious to see how that all ends up playing out for sure. So that leaves us to our last two 3DS games, new announcements, both of them. So one of them, the first one, is we've had the Mario and Luigi, RPG series, right? And then we had the Paper Mario series, and now, bam, combine them together. What do you get? You get a Paper Jam, apparently. So Mario and Luigi Paper Jam is coming out for the 3DS, spring 2016. And, RPGs, I've no secret, I'm not big into RPGs, but there's few exceptions. Like, for example, Pokemon is one of the series that I'm kind of into, although lately I've kind of been getting bored of it. But I've dabbled a little bit in Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, and both of them have been kind of interesting to me. So the fact that now they're both combined together, I'm actually really excited about this game. It looks really interesting, and it's cool that they get to be combined because it's actually kind of interesting too. Because one of my sisters was really into Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for a while, and then my other sister was really big into Paper Mario. She played the GameCube one. I didn't even play most of these games, but she practically beat the games and everything. So now both of them kind of are combined together. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if they're going to want to play the game too or not, but. But it's interesting to see that they're doing that, and I'm really excited about it. Are you guys interested in this combo?
I'm genuinely interested. Yeah, I don't know if we'll actually play it or not. I've not really played any of them. I played Super Paper Mario, which a lot of people hate, and definitely departs from the whole RPG side of things. So really my most experience with any Paper Mario game is that one, so I can't really base my entire, I don't know anything about the entire series. I think it's interesting they would combine them together. I have no idea, not that there's an actual timeline or any sort of thing that how the Mario universe works together, but I'm interested to see how all that really plays in. They haven't really talked about it a whole lot, so that's been interesting. I'm like, early there's Mario and Mario side by side. Okay, but that's the thing that I do appreciate from what I do know about those games is they have a hilarious storyline, and they're totally okay with making fun of themselves, and just the dialogue is always really funny, and just calling the game Paper Jam. I'm sure there's some sort of jokes in that as well. So I think it's going to be a fun and funny game, I'm sure. And I'm interested. I am genuinely interested in seeing more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the Mario RPG series since the Square Enix original, and when it seemed to branch off into the two directions of, Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, I've enjoyed them both series. They're both interdependent and they're both great. And I was wondering what they were gonna do next because the 3DS already has a Paper Mario and it has a Mario and Luigi. I figured it would be another Mario and Luigi game, or they would do something with the Wii U and put like Paper Mario back in the console. This was not what I was expecting, but I had a smile on my face the entire time. I thought it was charming. I thought it was neat how enemies you face, some of them are paper versions, some of them are like 3D versions, that they're tongue-in-cheek, they don't take themselves seriously. I mean, Mario and Luigi, you've had them paired up with their baby selves, so why not the paper version of Mario? And I just think that's great because it's just a fun game. It's not supposed to be serious. It's just supposed to be a lighthearted, action-packed, role-playing adventure. It's set in the Mario universe where you can just interact with crazy characters and have fun. And that looks exactly what this is going to be. So it's a must-buy, must-play.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited about it for sure. In fact, it might even be out of the digital event the game I'm most excited for, maybe. Just with knowing the preliminary information that we have about some of the games and stuff. So, yeah, so definitely looks pretty interesting. So the last thing then is a new entry in the Metroid series, which is why I got my little shirt going here. So this one here, Metroid Prime Federation Force. It is a co-op game, 4-player co-op, online or local. First-person sci-fi adventure set in the Metroid Prime universe. You wear a mech suit and you work together as a team to clear out enemy-infested bases and complete objective-based missions. After you complete the missions, then up to 6 players can compete in Metroid Prime Blast Ball, which is, yes, that little sneaky thing, Blast Ball, they introduced during the Nintendo World Championships without telling us it was Metroid-related, although most people kind of pointed out all the similarities. So the game releases in 2016. So let me give my thoughts on this here. I'm quite disappointed in this. I'm sorry. I'm so disappointed in this right now. It looks so generic to me. I mean, there's certain elements that you can kind of pick out that are similar to like the UI of like a Metroid game and stuff, but like the mech suits, I mean, all that stuff there, it's like it took Metroid Prime Hunters and took away all the feeling of Metroid and just kind of made it seem more generic in a way. And the whole Blast Ball thing I wasn't really feeling from the World Championships too. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but I don't know. It's just that part of the World Championships kind of dragged a little for me when they had that gameplay. So to me, I mean, you knew Metroid, great, but this is completely different to like the other Metroid Prime games. I don't know that it really interests me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I've said this before, and yet another point that Barry hates me about, that I'm not a huge Metroid fan, but I have played enough to know that Metroid is always built upon this solitary feeling, that things are really built around this feeling of, wow, I am alone, and the fate of this planet, this civilization, or whatever, depends on me, and that's part of the reason why a lot of people didn't like Other M, because it was kind of like she was always connected to people and people telling her what to do and that sort of thing, and so for this to be some sort of co-op mission, kind of it is a departure, and I understand how a lot of people that are huge fans of the Metroid franchise would be upset with that. But taking it just by itself, it doesn't seem that bad, I guess, of a game. I think there's a lot of potential there, and it is releasing in 2016, so there's still a lot of time for them to really develop this into something better than what we saw today. The whole Blast Ball thing is weird. They would include it like in the way that the release like seems to be saying. It's like after you've shot each other, then you can go play a game of soccer. I'm like, what? Like, that's just weird. And I hope that you just wrote it like, after you complete these missions, then you can still have fun with this game because there's this other mode. Not after you shoot each other, then you go play soccer, because that's how it's written, and that sounds weird. But by itself, I was actually okay. I was watching the Nintendo World Championships. I was like, I kind of want that game. I hope it's like a $5 download, because it seems like a fun little game. But to kind of incorporate it in the way it seems like it's going to be incorporated in this game, it sounds just weird. But as a Metroid game that carries the Metroid Prime, the Metroid name, I can see why Metroid fans would be kind of really disappointed in it. But given the fact that there's still time, I think we'll see further development and more polish as it goes on. And I think it's gonna be fun. But I can understand why Metroid fans would be upset, I guess.
I gotta play devil's advocate again, only because for the sake of discussion. When I first saw the game, I was excited. Wow, yes, another Metroid game. And when I saw it, I was like, all right, I can kind of see where this is going. And I was happy they included Blast Ball. I'm like, like the pieces are starting to come together. Okay, well that, like Steve said, like a $5, $10 at most download is what I figured. So the fact that it's included, cool. I look at it as a free bonus. But then I saw like the Treehouse, and I was watching it, and I could definitely tell you this: if this does not have voice chat, it is dead in the water. Because they needed, even with communication, they kept screwing up. And these are the Treehouse people. I could just imagine with some random Joe, get out of the cage! Get out of the... Oh, you can't hear me, you fucking moron! Get out of the cage! Why do you keep opening the cage?
It really was. It was awful to like hear them just yelling at each other. I'm like, I hope they're doing this for show, because this is terrible. And like, I couldn't just imagine them, trying to play this game without being able to talk to each other. It would have been horrible.
Yeah, without voice chat, this game is unplayable, and I will state that now. At least in its current form, it is unplayable. So if they do not have voice chat, it's dead. But with voice chat there, which I'm assuming they're going to do, they're going to be smart enough to, I think, a lot of people will be upset. I can see people being upset. It doesn't have Samus. It doesn't have isolation. I mean, there are people who are upset at Other M because it showed Samus having a little bit of emotion once in her life. And I loved Other M. I enjoyed the story. I didn't enjoy having to wait to put on the Varia suit when I'm burning to death. But outside of that, I enjoyed the game. So, I understand why people were upset about it. However, if there's one thing that the more recent Metroid games have shown us, that's Metroid Other M, that's Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, that's Metroid Prime Hunters, is that the universe is huge. And there's more than just Samus in the universe. There is a Galactic Federation. There are other bounty hunters. So this is like them making the Star Wars movie centered around Boba Fett and other bounty hunters, but no Jedi in it. I mean, it's still the same Star Wars universe. You don't need Jedi and Sith in it to tell a story, because there's so much to the universe. And I think Metroid, that's what they're trying to do, is branch out that universe, because there are more characters to the universe than Samus. There are more, villains to the universe than Metroids and Ridley and Mother Brain and Kraid. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is branch out. And here, now these are some of the squads that are going on. Maybe they're going on the same time that Samus is off doing Metroid Prime stuff, or Prime 2 or Prime 3 stuff, and it's happening at the same time. I don't know, but I look at it as a side story, that it's telling a different story. And in that respect, I'm fine with it. I can enjoy it, and I think other people with an open mind can look at it that way after they calm down and enjoy it. What I think is going to happen is I think the backlash is going to be so huge that Nintendo is going to say, here's our original idea. You guys clearly don't want this idea, so instead we're going to have everybody in Samus suits. Now there's 4 Samus because she touched the 4 morph ball. and now you're going to deal with it, and this is what you're going to get, and people are going to bitch and moan about that now, because you can't please everybody, and I really think that's the moral of this E3 is you can't please everybody, because that's the real truth of it. If you look at it as a side story, as another aspect of that galaxy, there should be no problem with it. But if you're the kind of person who you have to have the main character in every aspect of every story that's told in that universe, then not only are you closed-minded, but you'll never let the creators of that universe ever expand and tell more stories in that set universe.
It's similar to like how people are really upset about what that newest Halo game that wasn't focused on Master Chief or whatever it was. And so
Reach.
Thing, you know? Yeah, so it's like that, but I can't remember, I guess, because I'm not a huge Metroid fan, and I definitely wasn't at that time even close to into it as much as I am now. What was there any backlash when Prime Hunters came out? Because it seems like a very similar sort of thing. I mean, we even talked about, I think it was one of you guys' predictions, you know, a sequel to Prime Hunters. And that kind of seems what this is really. It seems
Prime
like
Hunters had Samus. Prime Hunters, you were Samus though. I mean, that's
right. But I mean, like the multiplayer aspect of it. I mean, you were shooting each other.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a side quest sort of thing. Like this also exists in this sort of universe, and I think, you know, and you're fighting together sort of thing. So I think it's kind of in that same avenue. It's not exactly the same, but I think it's going in that sort of direction, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you know, like you said, mentioned Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach both didn't tell the story of Master Chief, and people were like, rah, 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 rah. You know, like next year Star Wars Rogue One is coming out. That's gonna, you know, not tell the story of Luke Skywalker or any Jedi. You know, they're gonna backlash about that, and I really don't understand it. Why can't storyteller? And as a writer, you know, as a storyteller, it bothers me because, you know, I mean, I think about Mass Effect 3. And if you've ever played Mass Effect 3 or any of the Mass Effect games, you must know about the notorious ending. And I played that game and I saw that first ending, and that ending honestly did not make a lot of sense to me. But that's what the writers wanted, and they were bullied into changing it. And they changed it in the sense that it made more sense, but it still didn't make everybody happy. And I think that if people are bullying creators into changing their vision into whatever these people want, I think as society we have failed. Because if people didn't like Romeo and Juliet and they bitched and moaned to Shakespeare to change the play, we would lose that aspect of that play. And I think that transcends into the video game storytelling medium. Because video games are no longer a dot and a dash and two bleeps and two Pong battles going on. They are stories. They are interactive stories, and they're real storytellers writing scripts and writing this out and creating. You know, Miyamoto creates these great universes, and so do so many other developers out there. But if they're shoehorned into keep making the same game over and over and over and over again and not being able to branch out or change stories, and Metal Gear Solid 2 is another one. Oh, we're going to get Solid Snake. Oh, what we have to play is Raiden. There was huge backlash over it. Like, people just can't be happy. They have to complain about something.
Yeah, I'll say one other thing. We really got to start to wrap things up, too, because it's been a long episode. I mean, I think there's definitely people that are you know, taking things way too far with their, you know, like negative reactions to some of this stuff too. But I think I get to kind of I guess offer another perspective as well on some of this too. At least why I was kind of disappointed with this and some of the other stuff today too. It's just the way that some of these games are presented. You know, I'm sure down the road when we see future trailers, learn more about the games, maybe there's going to be really interesting things that will get people excited about it. But it just seemed like, you know, for example, for this game, the trailer was very generic. There wasn't much Metroid about it. You know, like if I would have seen that trailer, you know, I'd been like, oh yeah, the UI is kind of similar to Metroid, but like you don't get that Metroid feeling from the presentation there. Similarly, you know, you have some of the other announcements, like the you know, well, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival as an example. It just kind of, it wasn't the trailer for it. The board game might end up being fun, but they didn't really show what the gameplay is about. It was just rolling the dice. These little events pop up that you lose bells or gain bells. Like, where are there mini games? Like, what's fun? Like, it just seems like a lot of these trailers for things that they announced was kind of just underwhelming, or just it didn't give us the full picture yet. And obviously, a lot of these games are in development. But I think that, at least personally, some of the feeling of disappointment on some of it, it's not that I'm not necessarily going to enjoy these games later. It's just I feel like it wasn't presented well. And especially with Metroid, the fact that they introduced Blast Ball randomly at the World Championships first, and then all of a sudden they happen to throw it in here and like, oh, by the way, it's Metroid related. I mean, it's almost like the fact that it's Metroid related was an afterthought, because the first time they showed it was without telling us that it was even Metroid related. You know, so it's kind of like you get this feeling of, like, the sense of, you know, where's the wow factor with some of these, which I'm sure we'll hear more about later, but just today we didn't quite get there yet. And granted, I have not seen the Treehouse Live stuff yet. I do want to go watch those later. I just haven't had time, but
yeah, it helps a lot to see them in action in Treehouse Live. I think I kind of go back to my answer to your question. It's experience. I mean, I think you really need that experience, because the presentation, the digital event, wasn't that fantastic. What they announced was all pretty great. I mean, in general, I was pretty happy with what they announced, because like they seem like quality games, and I'm excited about the majority of them. But what they showed of them and how they showed them was lackluster, and I wish they would have chosen, you know, better ways to show them off, to really get the hype up, I guess, a little more than what they did.
Yeah, another thing that hurt Nintendo, besides the leaks that did happen, like Hyrule Warriors, we knew about, and I guess this isn't a negative thing about Nintendo, but it's a thing that a lot of people forget about when comparing them to Sony and Microsoft's conference, is throughout the year Nintendo holds directs. And each of those directs is kind of like a mini E3, where there's new announcements. If they didn't have those directs, Nintendo E3 would be beyond amazing, because all that stuff would come out all at once. Instead, we get little mini E3s throughout the year. So to expect the same grandiose that we used to get at E3 from Nintendo is just really asking for so much. They're already giving us gifts in these little directs throughout the year to whet our appetite. So, you know, you got to think about it that too. You know, especially they just had a mini direct, you know, and the Smash Brothers Direct right before this. If the stuff from the mini direct and the Smash Brothers Direct was all in this as well, and it was an hour and a half long, people would probably be singing a different tune, at least for the most part.
Right. Yeah, that is true too as well. Nintendo definitely, you know, good or bad, I guess you could argue either way really, but they have a different format for E3, just for their announcements in general. And I think there are times when it definitely works for them, and then there are times where I guess some would argue that it doesn't. But it's definitely a different format that they have, and it's, you know, something that they've continued to kind of fine tune over the years and get better at. So you know, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of progress, you know, moving forward with the way they hold these kinds of presentations and announcements. So. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the digital event. Those were all the big announcements, and that is Nintendo at E3 so far. Who knows if they're going to have some random surprise announcements, you know, tomorrow or whatever. They tend to, you know, you never know with Nintendo. They might just sneak something on us, or who knows. Like, we didn't even get the game from Retro Studios, which I thought they were teasing. So who knows if we will at E3 or not. By the way, I don't think we mentioned this on the podcast. The Star Fox Zero is also being worked on with Platinum Games. They're working with Nintendo on that, so that's pretty interesting.
What was the game that Next Level is helping with? Was that the Metroid Prime game, or which one it was?
I can't remember. Like Level Games,
Don't remember
Nintendo. Let me do a search.
No, we don't know what Monster Game is doing either.
Oh,
Monster...
it is Metroid Prime.
Yeah, that was cool to see, what they were working on. And I kept expecting one of them to like, oh yeah, this is Rare's been working on it, or not Rare, Retro. Really interesting for Rare. Retro would be, bringing that. I thought of another, announcement would have been really cool if they did have, some sort of thing with the ukulele or something like that. That'd have been really cool to kind of bring that in. Like,
oh man,
that'd have been fun, some sort of surprise thing like that, exclusive thing for a third party. But yeah, it's we still don't know what's Retro doing.
Right.
In other news, 2 new Splatoon weapons came out right now tonight, so hop on there and grab some weapons.
That's right, more Splatoon content. And the Splatfest is coming up. Is that this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's this weekend.
Okay. So the first ever Splatfest. Okay, gotcha. First ever Splatfest is this weekend then as well. So, So that's pretty much it, guys. Lots of stuff to kind of digest after E3, and go back and watch all the Treehouse videos. Watch the World Championships if you didn't watch that, and just kind of the good thing about Nintendo at E3 is they have so much content. I mean, they're constantly streaming stuff. I mean, there's a lot of content out there. So definitely worth kind of digesting over the next few days, going through and watching it all for sure. Still 2
more days of Treehouse, too, with new stuff.
Yeah, that's still
If
going.
you were disappointed by the presentation, watch the Treehouse. It goes into depth so much more. Really, the entire package that they put forth in E3 is really a lot better than just taking the digital event by itself.
Right. Absolutely. So that's that. That's Nintendo at E3 2015. So thank you to everybody that tuned in. So thank you to Kyle, to Duke CT for calling in, to everybody else, Mike, Roth, I think, was there as well. So shout out to you all. Thank you for listening.
Sticking with us for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
That's without Greg. Imagine if Greg was still here.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you all so much. Stay tuned to NintendoFuse.com to know when the next episode is. Probably we'll give it a couple weeks to kind of digest everything, and then we'll come back later with another episode. But thank you all so much, and we will see you later.
Have a good night.